questions? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as written?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Gomez. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Ms. Esquivel. Roll call. Ms. Esquivel,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera.
Aye.
Myself, aye. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. First item is regular meeting minutes of January 8, 2021. Is there a motion to accept them as written?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes,
January 18th.
January 18th and February 3rd.
Is there
I'll
a
go ahead
second?
and second the motion.
Seconded by Edgar. Okay, roll call.
Yes.
Ms. Esquivel,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Mr. Morelos, are you here with us?
Yes, I barely logged in. I was having a little problem, but I'm in. Thank you, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next item on the agenda is building reports. Dr. Lucas?
Anybody have any questions on the operations report that Ryan does?
I had some, Dr. Lucas.
Okay,
What's the timeline on like the new infrastructure stuff, the water faucets?
it depends on grant funding and when we can get them in, because we're being, they're coming out with a new CARES, basically more CARES money. And we will use that money to purchase the water fountains and water, the hands-free, everything. So depending upon when that funding becomes available, will depend upon when the deadline to submit the application for the funding is April 1. So it probably will be sometime during the summer before we can start. But we are in the process of getting pricing and everything else for it.
Okay, that was my next question, the funding, which you answered.
Right.
I had one more on the Wi-Fi. Is that going to be like a continuous thing past the pandemic, or that's just for right now?
So the Wi-Fi that we're working with the state to put in, or what the internet the kids have now?
Well, it says the plans to roll out free mesh Wi-Fi to our students is progressing. This project would provide free internet to students who live within the mesh radius.
Yeah, so Ryan, if I'm wrong, correct me, but it is a statewide project that should be free from now on, or at least for the foreseeable future. The state may come back and say, we can't afford it anymore, but for now, it's part of the project of getting Wi-Fi and internet to the rural, affordable Wi-Fi to rural areas.
Okay, thank you,
Did I
sir.
miss anything, Ryan?
Is as long as they have the CARES funding, it'll continue for how many years, we just don't know yet.
Right. So it is federal government grant funded.
Correct.
So once
Thank
that
you.
runs out, then we'd have to see.
Dr. Lucas, this is Alyssa.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a couple of thank yous, especially for you to get on with the services for the Jarrett family.
Oh, sure.
I just want to thank you, and then I want to thank our maintenance, Davey, Daraso, Teddy, whoever was participating and helping out for the services. I want to thank them from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, they did a great job. And I don't know if you saw it on the news, but George and Abraham, when they were moving, one of the news reporters was there and you could see them moving stuff in the background, taking it off the field, when they were cleaning up.
Yeah, I think I saw Teddy about,
Yeah.
I want to say 7:30, 8 o'clock, putting stuff away. So
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank all of them. And if you can relay that message
I sure
to
will.
Abraham as well and Mr. Phil Lauer.
Yes.
Thank you.
we will. Uh-huh.
And Baltasar as
And
well.
Baltazar, yes.
Yes, Baltazar, please, Rosa.
Any other questions on that one?
Okay, building reports, we can start with RVT.
All righty, can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
We should be good. Okay, so if you looked at the building report I sent you, whatever's in bold, I'll be cutting, basically discussing on most. We do have a lot going on, pandemic, COVID aside, and we still have to continue to service students. So really the relationships, our goal is to establish new community partnerships and maintain the ones we have already. We've done Ms. Mendoza has done a good job in reaching out to the community and massaging those relationships and working to establish new ones. And we're continuously adjusting to meet student and parent needs. I really think our half-day schedule is responding well to student needs. A lot of students are reporting to that extra support time that they've been given, whether it's one-on-one or a three-on-one situation. So it seems to be working out well. The reason why we're focusing on this is as we move into the responsibility, like I said, at the end of the day, our debt to students is their education, So I have a couple of things that I shared with the school board through the report is the Equity Council. So this is to transform education systems. And then I give you guys two handouts. One of them is the equity in action. Really, what are we doing? How strategic are we being? And this is a community effort. It involves the schools and the high school. And as we move forward, they are requesting school board members or business, or community members to participate on this in order to have a well-informed learning community. So some of our school board members, you guys are employed in other areas where you have ability to reach other stakeholders and leaders in the community. So the Equity Council will be reaching out to you for that. And it just really has an informed learning community. On the second one, the multi-layered student support systems, that MLSS attachment, we're going through the audit right now, and RVT is a pilot school in the area for the state of New Mexico. We are working with our local REC, and they're coaching us along on how to do this. So what it started off with is a self-assessment of what is going on at the school, and they're going to look at opportunities for growth at RVT. So it is teacher-led. So we did have to create a leadership team. There is a community team that will need to be put together, and one, I think it's parents as well. So this is going to be moving forward, and it's kind of state mandated, but like I said, we're piloting it right now at RVT, and we've done a lot of work, and we're continuing to do work to address the requirements and our opportunities for growth as well. Number three on that end is professional development in response to the MLSS and Equity Council requests. So the MLSS is a shift in thinking, and it's a paradigm shift in practices. So this is what we do here, what we're used to do. This is what we've always done with these support systems and the Equity Council. But it's really fun, parents, stakeholders in the community to say, okay, what is our objective here with education, right? And at the end of the day, on number 4 there, it's putting students first. So students come first in all of these, no matter what. And our goal is to meet those learning demands for the students. We move on into rigor, maintaining academic standards while adjusting to meet our most demanding students' challenges, right? Obviously, COVID presented a lot. We've learned a lot about ourselves and our students. And I think our families and students, again, thank you guys. You guys have responded in kind. It has not been easy for anybody, but I think we were able to rise to the challenges in our community. And then using best practice to move academic and student success forward. And then using assessment to advance teaching and learning. So all these are in line with the MLSS and Equity Council movements. The relevance, so an informed learning community, what's going on at our school? What does it look like? One of the big things right now is obviously digital literacy. We had parents and grandparents and guardians and aunts and uncles and everybody become digitally literate overnight. And how do we amplify those new skills that we've acquired? How do we continue to build upon that digital literacy that wasn't there 8 months ago, 9 months ago, right? And on the relevance of college and career conversations. So this week, next week, actually, I'll be doling out for our kids. What do they want to be? What does it look like? And talking to parents, guardians, aunts, uncles, grandparents, about their opportunities in education, what they've done, why this may be important, why it's not important. We want to get all that feedback, but really we want to engage the community in this conversation for our little kiddos. And we want to know what they want to become, and it helps us address teaching and learning in the school, right? Are there after school programs we can look at to address these needs and heighten interests for the kids? So those are some things that we're investigating right now. And always opportunities for growth. Where do you see growth for me as an administrator at RVT? And then where does the community see opportunities, the opportunities for growth at RVT? And that's it.
Thanks, sir. DPMS Central?
Sir, I had a quick question for Dr. Amador.
Sure.
Sir, first I wanted to say thank you for everything you're doing out there. I really appreciate it. I had a question regarding a family who's waiting for their hotspot device. Do we have any updates on when that might be coming in?
That would be a Ryan question.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's all right. And they're on back order, right, Ryan? The hotspot for the one family that's moved in that has several kids, I think.
Are you asking about the Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We actually have 3 families waiting for a hotspot, and they're still on back order. So we're waiting on a ship date for those. Once they ship, we usually get them in 1 to 2 days. So hopefully within a week or 2. But they're
Right.
really back.
And we have notified the families that they can also come to the parking lot. That Wi-Fi is still set up outside. I know it's not ideal, but it's better than nothing. And we're also looking at giving them packets. Mind you, they just started within the last week. So there's several options for the families.
Okay. Thank you for working with them. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, Ralph?
Good evening, Board President Cole, members of the board, Superintendent Lucas. Basically, what we're doing at the middle school, at Central Elementary and at the middle school, I just gave you a briefing of what we're bringing kids on campus. Once again, once we got the okay through the governor's office, we were bringing them on campus. At the moment, we have 5 SPED students that are coming every Thursday. So within that Thursday time, they also get their ancillary services and then the one-on-one interventions with Dallas, Miss Pompeo, and also Miss Haynes. And so that's just part of it. We're bringing kids on campus. We're also bringing those kids that are struggling on campus. And so I acted right away. Right now, by the end of this week, we should have 17 to 20 additional students at a 1 to 5 ratio. So that would be Miss Fraley, Miss Garza, Mr. Ramirez. I have enough other staff member that'll come online once they get their vaccine. And then I am also taking a class. So what we're trying to do is make sure that these kids come into the school. We feed them breakfast, lunch. We make sure that they log into the classes. We make sure that they're completing the assignments, and just making sure that they have some structure. A lot of our kids, for whatever reason, don't always have that structure at home, but when they're in a classroom, they do much better. And so that's the idea. I wish I could bring more in, but I just can't. And we have to follow guidelines. But, there's just so much we can do, and we're trying to do it right away. And so it's become a little more livelier at the school because we actually have kids in the building. We're following all the guidelines. As I said, we meet every guideline and just try to stay as safe as we can. And that includes not only the kids, but staff as well. So that's ongoing, and it'll continue to be ongoing until, until we come back in hybrid form or in person at some point. So I want you to understand that we're working hard at it. We are working also on just making sure the school's as safe as it is. And when we do come back, we'll be ready. At this point, we are ready. and we're ready to go in any way possible. We want to provide the best possible education for our kids. And I see the best way is to help those that are struggling the most. We have some that are very successful, but unfortunately that's from the ground up, from the elementary school all the way through the high school. All of us are going through that. So we're trying to make it better and improve. And with that, I'll take any questions or comments at this point.
I would just like to say thank you, Mr. Almanzad, for all the efforts that you've made in the school to get these kids in, and to the teachers who have taken in the 5-to-1 ratio at this point. We really appreciate everything you've done so far.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Any other questions?
Just one, Dr. Dukas. You mentioned you think you're gonna get 15 to 20 more students here soon, Mr. A?
No, we can only go at a 5-to-1 ratio. And so basically right now we might have between 20 and 25. We can't go over than half. Our attendance is, our enrollment is 140 right now, both at Central and at the middle school. So we have to keep our ratio at 1-to-5. If I get more staff members, we could do that. But at this point, we have what we have, and I'm just trying to be an example, and I know that I can help. So I'm actually sharing a class with one of the other teachers, but until they come in person full time, then I will take that class. We're probably going to stay between 20 and 25, Mr. Barrera, at this point. But if I get more people in, we can probably bring a few more in. We are there from 7:45 to 1:45, like I said, so it's a full day. But you know, we're making sure they log into classes, and we're also making sure that they're getting the work done and handing it in. So it's just a supervision piece that we're working on. We do help as well. If there's an issue or something, we are there to offer assistance as well. So it just depends on how many staff members I can get in to help with that endeavor. That's a good question. Thank you for asking.
I appreciate you taking on a class yourself too. From what I'm hearing is that we have the demand for students, right, that want to go in there and get extra help. It's just a matter of getting people on board to teach them in class, I guess.
That's correct. We've made a lot of phone calls, and I'm trying to get the neediest students in there. Basically, we look at attendance, we look at grades, we look at parent requests. A lot of it is teacher recommendations, because they're the ones that are there and they know who's attending, who's not, who's handing stuff in. We look at the IEP, and if it's a special ed student, we look at that and figure out how we can do that. So a lot of factors that come into play, but I try to be as flexible as I can, and I'm trying to help. Wish I could help everyone that has requested that. I do have a waiting list, but I'm doing the best I can. And initially, we reached out to that, but now it's like kind of on a first come, first served basis, and that's the best way I can do it.
Awesome work, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. A, this is Edgar. Again, I personally can't thank you enough for everything you do there. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Scott?
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Just to kind of touch base what Mrs. Escobar was talking about, I'd also like to thank our custodial and our maintenance crew, Teddy, Davey, George, Abraham, Teresio, Baltazar. I know they, are a big part of our community, so they did, they got after it and set that, set everything up on the field, and then they stayed after and got everything off the field, and even helped the father out moving his materials back and forth to the church. So I just, they're a great bunch of guys that are, kind of go beyond what we ask them a lot. So I really do appreciate them. Yeah, just kind of moving forward with what we're doing, is we're going to be following Mr. Almanzar's plans also. Teachers right now are working on kind of their what kids they're going to be wanting to bring in. So I made the choice to wait till our teachers got their second vaccination. So this week we'll see how everything goes with it'll give them that week of time after their shot, and then we'll start bringing. Then I'm wanting to start bringing in kids the following week. So a lot of the teachers are going to use groups like after school, like a tutoring, teach their class, like have the regular school day, teaching remotely, and then bringing in groups after school from the 2 to 4 o'clock or 2 to whenever they, depending on how many groups they have. Some teachers are still, are wanting to bring in, have asked if they could bring in kids during the day, and we'd have to set that, I'll have to get that schedule kind of set up to see which kids are going to be beneficial more than, than not. Teachers with the after school will be specifically for their subject, and then to bring them in throughout the day, we will have to, see who's there, and then kind of just follow what Mr. Almanzar is doing. Is that then I can have them set up in a different area, because right now we have 3 teachers in the building every day, so we have to follow all the mandates. But yeah, our teachers are excited of getting kids in, seeing face to face in that after school setting. So we're working towards that. Even though we are in the pandemic, this month I'll start working on some of our teachers' frontline observations for domains 2 and 3 this 3rd quarter. And then teachers are also required to get their domains into the frontline this quarter also. So it's a little different with observations and a little different kind of I guess requirements, or what we're our expectations. I mean, they're still high, but it's just a different way of looking at those things. And other than that, we are continuing reaching out to parents, making those weekly email or calls to let parents know where their students are, where they're struggling, and how well they're doing, and in the areas that they're not doing very well, and just always reminding them to reach out to the teachers and parents and students to contact them, because that's the teachers are really wanting to help, and teachers offer it daily, but we just need the kids to take that next step and actually ask for that help. So we're getting some students that are taking advantage of that, but we have many that aren't, and we're just trying to find ways to improve that area, in that area of just getting kids to ask for help, basically. So other than that, everything seems to be going in the right direction. School's ready, as Mr. Almanzar was saying. We're just seeing how things play out, and I was really kind of monitoring the community numbers, and we're doing solid there for a week. And then I've seen we've gone up about 8 in the last week or so, 5 or 6 days. So we were steady for a while, but then our numbers jumped up. So we're just kind of monitoring that and see what we can continue to do to help support our kids and families. So that's all I have. So if you have any questions.
Sir, this is I just wanted to echo out some of the feedback that I received from the high school, some of the high school staff, and they just wanted me to thank you for everything you do for them, and more than anything, listen and be there for them and support them. So I wanted to take this time to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Morelos, if I may.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I too want to thank everybody, starting with Dr. Lucas, all the way down to the administrators, the teachers, the staff, janitorial people, everybody, for going above and beyond in anything that you try to do. And I appreciate it. And I know the other board members do too. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Mr. Roberson, just quick question. Mr. A kind of got me thinking on it. Are you seeing that same like student demand for, interest to get back into the school as Mr. A was, or you still trying to get them more motivated to get back in there and take advantage of what we ruled on last?
Yeah, I've had some parents reach out to me since our last board meeting, about when we're going to start bringing kids in. So, I've had a few, the students themselves, of course, some of the kids are excited if we can get something going with that 5-to-1 ratio. So, but, we will be we're going to try to bring in, of course, our immediate students that are, having difficulties and need that extra help. But, we also want to try to make it work somehow, doing maybe little activities after school hours if we can for our students that are kind of being successful, kind of maybe, being able to do a little activities with them. But also we want to bring our students that are doing well, we want to give them the opportunity to come in too in our groups of 5-to-1, and maybe we can utilize some of them for some study groups, some of our ideas of using them to help with our students that are having difficulties, so we can get things working that way, with the understanding, of course, make sure we're following all the mandates and not, I'll push the limits, but we'll make sure that we stay, right where we need to stay though. So, but yeah, we're, hearing some input from the parents and students.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for high school? No? Okay, Coach Hooper, AD.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Can everyone hear me? Yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I have people cutting out on mine. I don't know, maybe it's my side of the internet that's cutting in and out. For athletics, we're still clicking along. We're hoping and praying something happens. I know our kids are trying to keep their hope, and it's hard sometimes, but I see our girls, they're practicing. I think they're practicing as we speak right now, and we have our volleyball and our basketball, and we have Coach Noel getting some baseball going. Do a little bit of softball and of course football, and we still have a small group that shows up in the morning lifts, and we keep that one down limited. We capped our morning lifts to 12 max, but we've only had that, I think, one time that many kids show up in the morning, and because the coaches, we got to watch how many coaches we get in there too, because a coach can watch 2 pods. It's 4-to-1 pods, and so a coach can watch 2 pods, and so we got to kind of keep that under, we got to supervise that and keep under PED rules. And but I think all in all, our coaches are doing their best, trying to keep their kids motivated and following all the rules with the mask and taking temperatures and keeping records of all that and keeping kids in pods. And it's difficult, but I think I give my coaches, our coaches, I should say, I give them all the respect in the world. I think they're doing a great job. And yeah, and I did, I have a lot of other information, and I'm sharing everything that I get about athletics and about other ways we could go about things to Dr. Lucas. I think that's the way I need to make sure I do that. And I'll get everything to Dr. Lucas, and then he could inform you, the board, and of all the stuff that I've been doing and phone calls I've been making. So I think that'd be the best way to approach everything anyway. Yeah, I don't have anything else unless y'all have some questions for me.
Any questions?
Yeah, Coach Hooper, I'm curious about, you said that it's about 50-50 right now of who's chosen to return back to school and stay online. do we, I mean, how is our district looking, or who, we have on the schedule if we were to return back to play? I mean, have they decided to stay online too, or go back, or is that still 50-50?
Yeah, it's not, it's higher. It's, I want to say, I asked Sally that exact question in our last AD meeting of how many schools actually are returning. And at the time we've gained some big schools like Santa Fe and Cruces came in, and they're doing things a little different. And again, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to make sure I forward, and I already have Dr. Lucas, and Dr. Lucas will communicate everything with you guys on what they're doing. But they was at 70%, so I'm going to guess it's probably around 75 to 80% are participating and are going to do some sort of hybrid, because hybrid, yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing a hybrid. I know that. It doesn't have to be the 50-50, but it's probably clicking around about 80% right now in our state. Is what she said. 70, and I know we've gained schools since then, so I'm just guessing 80. She said 70% is what she said. That was over a week ago. So
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We're keeping hope. We're keeping hope for our kids playing sports.
Yeah,
so
if you get that number,
we'll see what happens.
shoot it over to Dr. Lucas.
Yeah, I will. And then I sent them how other schools are doing different types of hybrids. And I know he's probably already communicated a lot of that stuff with you guys. And I know he will. I right before our board meeting, I got some more information. But the next thing we also been looking at, because we were thinking maybe even doing some club, if with our volleyball and getting our girls, because we've been invited to do the club in Cruces. But the only thing is that's with volleyball, that would leave out a lot of the other sports. But club's obviously huge in volleyball. Volleyball is a big club sport. And of course, at basketball, they have the AUU, and I think that's what it is. But that's a whole nother topic, and that's another time. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully, like I said, I still keep in hope that things will happen. And maybe some of the stuff we consider with Mr. Lucas and stuff. We'll see. We'll keep our fingers crossed and just try to do what's right by kids.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, thank you.
Any other questions?
I know our whole district, by the way, but our whole district, I think, is back right now. So, okay.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
efforts,
bosses.
being so resourceful and reaching out.
Thank you.
Okay, on truancy for the month of January, we've had 212 parental contacts that Tammy's done, which is quite a bit. And again, that's just contact, letters sent out, phone calls. With the pandemic, we used to go door to door. We don't do that anymore, so it's all been phone calls or mail or letters. We've also started referring to JJCS. They're starting a program, I think, for kids that are maybe having some attendance problems. And then we have the Engage New Mexico also that we refer to. Hopefully, it will start helping, but that is quite a bit. Any questions on that?
Okay, next item on the agenda is public forum. Mr. Cheney, do we have anything for public forum? I'm sorry, you cut out.
No, we do not have any public comment.
Okay, thank you. Next item is Board of Education issues. The 2021 Nmsba Student Achievement Award.
Yes, this is a award we do annually. Last year, Mr. Costa got it. So, it's just the recipient has to be somebody that is an individual or group that's played an important role in improving student achievement at the district level. The recipients may include school board member, administrator, teacher, staff member, parent, community member, or volunteer. So if you have any ideas, we can put in a name, today. If not, if you just want to email me a name, say by name, because this is due March 12th.
I had a suggestion sent in to me And it
Okay.
was our maintenance custodial staff, which is, I believe, all 5 of them.
Right, I think that's an excellent idea. Anybody
Um,
else?
I got a parent that wanted to nominate one individual. Her name is Olivia Pantoja. She donated to the World Center Kitchen in honor of the student. The assignment was, what do you want to be when you grow up? And Olivia sent out on her behalf, writing this letter to the student and donated to one of the charities, the World Kitchen, Central Kitchen, in honor of that student at RVT. So I think it impacted one of our students. She was very happy to receive that letter. So I'm gladly to nominate Olivia Pantoja.
And Ms. Cole, if I could add on to that real quick, I agree with Alyssa. I think all of our staff just deserves something. I really do. Everybody has done an excellent job. But I do also want to thank Dr. Amador in regarding to this nomination for Olivia Pantoja, because of his efforts to start thinking, getting our children to think at a very young age about college and their future. This was possible. And so, Dr. Amador, I also thank you for that.
Thank you.
Any
Any
other
other?
suggestions?
So we have Olivia, and then we have the maintenance crew.
Dr. Lucas, if depending on what the board chooses, I'm more than willing to buy a plaque for one of the individuals or group, and then the association could purchase the other one if necessary.
Right, because the School Boards Association will pay for one plaque. So, anybody above one will be at district expense. So the maintenance staff we would have what, 4 to pay for, and we included Olivia on that as well, so that'd be 5. I don't think they're that expensive
They're $40, I believe.
a piece. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's not that expensive. And,
Yeah, they're $40.
And
Madam Chair.
I'm gladly to pitch in as well for the individual plaques for our maintenance, or whatever the board decides to choose. I'm willing to even purchase all 4 of them if that's what the board chooses. But I do appreciate every single person in our district. It's been a difficult year, and I just want to thank every single person out there. Thank
So
you. guys.
there's 5 on our maintenance custodial crew, because there's Baltasar, Teddy, Tereso, Davy, and Mr. Fellauer. And then Olivia would be the 6th person for Abraham.
There's Abraham as well.
so was it for maintenance staff only, or maintenance and custodial? Was it
Maintenance and
custodial?
custodial.
Okay.
Would the rest of you guys be willing to go half on the maintenance group? And we could purchase Olivia's the school could or the association, I should say, could purchase Olivia, and we could purchase the other one between all 5 of us for our custodians.
Right.
Madam Chair, this is Morelos. I can live with that.
Yes,
I
sir.
think we're all on the same wavelength here. And even saying thank you to all the staff again. I wish we could give a plaque to everybody. But I can live with the custodial staff and Olivia Pantoja. I think if each one of us pays for a plaque, I think we'll be covered. If not, I think we can all pitch in for an extra one or whatever.
I agree, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so we'll put all those in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
choice, people. Thanks.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda, approval of accounts payable and payroll liability transactions.
Any questions on the checks?
Well, I have one,
Okay.
if I may. We had the Biltmore Holiday Corporation where it said it was reissued. But I
Right, that was
saw,
for some masks, and the check, I guess, got lost in the mail, or they got it and lost it, but it never was deposited, and we needed to get them paid for the masks.
oh, okay, because I had seen it a couple of times on the,
Yeah.
and so I was just wondering
You
what it
answered
was.
my question also. I see it 3 times on our,
Yeah, it was lost. So there was a partial payment, and then there was one that was lost, and we had to reissue that one.
Okay. That was the only thing I had. Does anybody else have any others?
Not
Okay, if
from
there's
me.
no more questions. Okay, next item is approval of budget adjustment requests, and there's quite a few of them.
Yes, there are.
Madam Chair, we need to approve the.
Oh,
accounts
yes, sir.
payable. I'll
Yes,
make
thank
a
you for that.
motion to approve accounts payable and payroll liability transactions as written.
Okay,
I'll
can I get a
second that
second?
motion.
Thank you. Roll call. Mrs. Esquivel?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Barrera?
Aye.
Mr. Morelos?
Aye.
And myself, aye. Okay, next item is approval of budget adjustment requests.
Okay, there are several, so I'll go through all of them, and I'll see if there are any questions after each one, and then we can approve them all at the end. So the first one is for 31,509. That's an initial bar for an award letter we got from a GEER fund. It's a governor's fund. It was a grant we applied for. It was 31,000, and it'll be used to pay for some of the internet services that have gone on. In our initial CARES Act, we had asked for 6 months of internet service. And this one will cover the balance. Any questions on that one? Okay, the next one, and most of these are maintenance bars, which are zero. It's just moving from one fund to another. And this one is just moving a net change of what my glasses are messed up. Brian?
And so that one's moving 21,000. So that first bar that you saw, that was basically a grant that came after the CARES fund, and specifically for internet. And so originally we were using the CARES fund for that, but because we got that GEARS fund, we had budgeted the internet in supply assets. And so because we were able to free that up with that new fund, we're doing a maintenance bar to basically just reallocate that budget throughout CARES now that we have the GEARS fund to cover the internet services. And so the transfer part of this, because it is a transfer bar, simply reflects a change in the function. So for example, coming out of function 1000 instruction and going into function 2100 support services. And really, this bar is kind of a result of that first bar, just because we got those extra funds.
Any questions on that one? Okay, and then the next one, so on the justification, it has increased bar as per attached award letter, but I don't see, it looks like it's a decrease of $5,000.
It is a decrease. The justification should say decrease bar.
Okay, yeah, so
And
that is a decrease.
Yeah, so we did get a reduction in our pre-K funding. And so we took it out of some lines that we had available budget to reduce for that.
Okay. Any questions on that one? Next one is another transfer bar. And again, it looks like pre-K being moved around. Total of, does it, I don't see the total transfer, you know, and I know it's a, but does it have the total on here anywhere?
I think, I mean, so look at the adjustment like amount and
right. So the first
credit balance,
the
3,119 is what you want to
look at on there. So
Okay.
there's 3 columns: the present budgets, like our current budget, the adjustment amount exp is
Right.
the change, and then
Right, I just didn't want to go through each line item.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
give them a total, yeah. But anyway, so there's a total of, looks like about $6,000 transferred from pre-K to other categories like general supplies or salaries or other charges. Any questions on that one? This next one is a very long, we have a couple of very long bars. Again, they're transfer, and you can go down the adjusted amount. Some on the pre-K initiative, it looks like it increased 17,000 on about the middle halfway down, it increased. But the rest of them are decreases. It looks to be about $15,000. But again, it's just moving from one fund to another to make up for, and it's all pre-K initiative, so it's all from PK funding. And that's just adjustments as per PED.
Yeah, and a lot of these, when we did the budget, it was, with the start of COVID. And so we did our best to estimate where we would spend the funds. And this is really just cleaning that up to where we've actually spent the funds and putting the budget where we need them for the rest of the year. And so these ones that have an M at the end of the bar number are maintenance bars. And it's just like Dr. Lucas said, reallocating budget where we've used it, maybe more than what we had budgeted. And putting it in places where we plan on using it for the rest of the year. So these ones that have an M at the end, there's no increase, no decrease. It's just simply a reallocation of the existing budget to be more in line with how the year has gone.
Right. And the next one that's up is a maintenance bar for transportation, and it's moving money out of transportation into different categories. And there are several transactions there. If you have any questions on those. Okay, and the next one, very long bar as well. Again, it's another maintenance bar. So zero balance, but it looks to be out of mainly just supports just services, general administration, moving it out of our just support services over into other areas that we needed to adjust for. Any questions on that one? Okay, and the next one is another maintenance bar, and it's moving money out of instruction into software, health and medical services or premiums, and workers' comp. And again, that is a zero document total. There's no net cost or expense to the district. It's just a zero transfer. Any questions on that one? Okay, again, the next one is another maintenance bar, and it's student support services. Just moving money from one fund to another of $195. So basically it's taking 195 out of one, putting it into another. Any questions on that one? No, okay. Next one, again, another maintenance bar. This is moving money out of instruction. Again, it's just taking $4,000 out of other contract services and putting it back into general supplies and materials. Any questions on that one? Okay. Next one is another maintenance bar. Again, taking money out of some money out of from CARES Act, taking it out of the instruction fund and moving it over to supply assets and other contract services and software. Any questions on that one? Next one is initial budget bar for $17,342, and that's a grant for rural low-income schools, and it goes for general supplies and materials. Any questions on that one? Okay. Next one is a decreased bar as per award letter, and it's from our Title I. We had a decrease of $4,064 out of the software portion of that Title I that we've got. Any questions on that one? Okay. Last one, I think. So it's an initial budget, and it's for CARES, and it's a grant we're getting for to buy HEPA filters, filters for classrooms. Individual HEPA filters for each classroom, and that's a total of $11,164. Any questions on that one? And that is all of them.
Sorry.
Ms. Cole, I'll go ahead and make a motion. Do we have to do individuals, or if not, for all budget adjustments as stated?
Yeah, a motion for all budget. Susie, you're muted, I think. But all budget,
sorry.
as presented, all bars as presented.
Yes, Mr. Gomez, we can take that motion as made by you.
This is Morelos, Madam Chair. I second that motion.
Okay. Roll call. Mrs. Esquivel,
Aye.
Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera.
Aye.
Mr. Morelos,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Next item on the agenda is discussion items. Item A, Southside property.
Yes, just wanted to let you know we did receive another letter from a business today asking, about selling it. And so, personally, I think we need to just get an appraisal done. I mean, no matter whether we donate it or whether we sell it, we need to know how much it's worth. So before we proceed on anything, I'm going to order an appraisal. And so hopefully by the next board meeting, if not the next, definitely the next, we'll have the appraisal done, and then we can move forward from there. If that is okay. Any thoughts or comments on that?
I can live with that, Dr. Lucas. Thank you.
Works for me too, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. An appraisal is fine.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas, for doing that.
Mhm.
Next item is school readiness.
Yes, I just wanted to mention, because at the special board meeting, I think a lot of people are even, we kind of misconstrued the term that we weren't ready. And we can say, when we said we weren't ready to start on, say, February 8th. I mean, because we've got to get some certain things in a row. But we are ready to start hybrid learning anytime they say we do it, provided there's enough advance time. We have to get the fire marshal out, which we've been trying to set up an appointment for quite a while now, but until we have a definite date, they won't set an appointment. So, that's probably a 2-week deal. But, we have all our plans for hybrid model reentry. We have all of we have the MERV 13 filters for all of our air conditioning system. They're not installed yet, and that may be why some of the confusion, because everything's sitting in central office just waiting for the go ahead. So it's not that we're not ready and we've been sitting on our laurels for 10 months. But we are ready to the point that whatever the state requires us to do in advance, we've done. It's just, we have to renegotiate with TAL. We would have to, when we're still trying to get this, I've even been in contact with my deputy's Secretary of Education in Santa Fe, trying to get them to get us an appointment so the fire marshal can come out. So should we decide to go at any time, we'll already have that inspection done. So I just wanted to kind of clarify about the readiness. We definitely weren't ready to go on the 8th. I mean, there's no way we could have legally started on the 8th. But, you give enough, if we ever decide, we need probably 3 or 4 weeks in advance to set a date so we can get everything. Because once we have a set date, then the fire marshal comes out. We've already started renegotiating on the TAL agreement. So, everything's in place. It's just, again, it's not an overnight thing. So any comments or anything on that?
Ms. Cole, there was something I wanted to say. I had asked Dr. Lucas to put this item on here tonight, and the purpose for this is, I think for us, not that we're not transparent, because I believe we've been very transparent with our community, but to continue being and showing this transparency. I think that there was a lot of confusion, a lot of comments out there that as a board, administration, principals have not been doing their job. And I just wanted to make sure that people understand that we do have reentry plans. We are prepared, but it's difficult when the state changes things. So one of the things I had suggested was the possibility of a monthly update at each one of our meetings, just to let parents or our community know that, I mean, we are working toward August for a full student reentry into our schools. And hopefully that makes them feel better. And again, it was just for a continuous transparency for everybody to know that we do have these reentry plans, and our buildings are good, and they're staying on top of them, or whatever work needs to be done is getting done.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Any other questions or comments? If there's no other questions or comments, we'll move on to item C under discussions, which is go bond election.
And on this, I just want to remind everybody the election is up tomorrow, actually. So if we haven't voted, or if you know people that have not, we'll post it on Facebook as well. I think there's a little over 400 undeliverable ballots. So we'll get it on Facebook that if you have not received a ballot, please go get one. Whether you vote yay or nay, just vote, just exercise your right to vote. And that's really all I had on that one.
Thank you, Dr. Lucas.
Mhm.
Next item, action items, approval of RFP DTMS roof.
Yes, we had two proposals, one from JS3, and I don't have that email up with me. I'm sorry. Ryan, can you read the points off the tally sheet that I emailed everybody one except myself, and I didn't print it off. I'm sorry.
Sure. We had two bids. One was from Construction Builders of America for $312,475, and another from J3 Systems for $381,814.28. The points, Construction Builders of America was 95 points, and J3 Systems was 85 points.
And the points were the CBA 1 point was basically price, and then being local. Everything else, they were pretty much dead on point wise. Our recommendation would be to go with a local vendor, CBA. They are licensed and insured. But we would, at your leisure, we would need a motion to award this.
Okay.
Ms. Cole, I'll go ahead and do that motion to award the contract to Construction Builders of America.
Madam Chair, this is Morelos. I'll second it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, I'll do roll call. Mrs. Esquivel,
I'm gonna abstain from this item at the moment.
okay, thank you. Mr. Gomez,
Aye.
Mr. Barrera,
Aye.
and myself, aye. Motion carries.
Mr. Morelos, aye.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. M.
No problem.
Okay, with all matters of the board taken care of for the regular meeting of February 15th, this meeting is adjourned.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.